Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, the 4th of June, and I want to show you the evolution of God in the Bible. Yeah? God learned something and he evolved, and why we are going around the same circles. Even though there are new teachings and apparently there are great changes, but we are producing the same outcomes. Yeah? Death and destruction all over the place. It doesn't matter, we're always going to that outcome. So how is that? That is because the intention that is ruling over us never changes. Yeah, it changes its outward appearance, but in its essence it doesn't change. So in the Old Testament, and there from the beginning, the intention of that God was very clear. It is stated in the book. I keep saying that. Yeah, he wants to rule over the animals. That would be then the levels that he perceives as being beneath him. Yeah, he is God. He's a level of consciousness that is God, and then that being is godly. Having a God consciousness inside of him. Because I think we're talking about beings, yeah, that perceive themselves as gods, as on being on that level of consciousness, and then everything else is beneath them to be ruled over. So in the beginning, it was clearly stated that their intention was to rule over the animals, to subdue nature, and that means actually subduing your own knowing, your own true nature. Knowledge that would grow out of your own true nature, that's been subdued. And then he will have dominion over the world, over this earth. Yeah, that was the plan from the beginning. Now, there was a way of doing it in the Old Testament. Yeah? And that was the way of Satan. It was the way of fear. It was force. It was rulership by force. That is the Old Testament. Again, fear, as I said, it obviously served that intention, the Lord God, because people driven into fear can become extremely cooperative. Let's say it like that. Out of self-preservation. So, out of the drive for self-preservation. So, that was the way it was being done. Yeah. So you were given a law and there were punishments if you do not. That is the law of Moses. And there are extreme punishments. And more than often the punishment is death. Now there was a law given before that, the Ten Commandments. And you should note that in what was written in stone, there is no mention of punishment in that. Follow it out of your free will, but it's more like recommendations. Follow it out of your own free will, and if you don't, well, you're probably not going to, again, create a good outcome for yourself. Actions have got consequences. So here I'm telling you, do this so that you live long in the land. But as I said, there was no mention of punishment. That came with the law of Moses. And that came from the spirit that was guiding them, and that was fear. That was Satan. That is why Jesus called them the synagogue of Satan. It is the synagogue of fear. As I said, fear is an angel. It is something that brings you knowledge, and anything that's created can be used either for good or for bad. There's no good and bad in the knowledge itself or in the bringer of the knowledge. It depends on what you do with it, what outcome you create out of that. That creates then good and bad. It's not in the thing itself. But that was the Old Testament, yeah? So God will have dominion over this world. You are his servant, and you will get a beautiful place for yourself, yeah? And he will give you houses that you have not worked for, and vineyards that you have not planted. You just can't You just go and take the whole bloody stuff and he will give it to you. And that's your reward. But at the same time, you know, well, if I don't do the will of God, if I'm not in service of that intention, I'm going to get crushed. So you are serving in fear. That's what Joshua said. You must serve him in fear. So, and that was really a pact with the devil, because you must serve him in fear, but he will give you houses and vineyards and God knows what. So that was the way of the Old Testament, and then Jesus appeared on the scene, yeah? Like this beautiful light of compassion and love, and proclaiming a Father that says, all shall be saved. You will all be saved in the kingdom. You know, he's coming to save you. Which then would indicate that there is a completely different God. Yeah? And so we were in a world of, I don't know, survival of the strongest. We were in that world. You know, those that were the mighty had the power to rule over. Yeah? And then Jesus said, no, it's not given to rule over, but to serve all. And it is the will of the Father that all shall be saved. And I'm filled with compassion and, great. So he brought this teaching, and then he, of course, saying you must deny yourself again. You know, subdue your own nature. Now you become all compassion, and we're all going to be saved. And here we go, and we're running toward the book of the Revelation, full on death and destruction. So we're going around the same circle. We're going to end up in destruction, and we're going to end up being ruled over by the Almighty God, godly Bob Q, that will descend on Jerusalem. So then where is the mistake? That's really what you need to ask yourself, because there is an action that is creating that outcome. So how? When there's something that is seemingly good, will create that outcome. Again, you've been told you must believe. Yeah, Jesus will come and save you. That kingdom will come and save you. You must believe. And it is the will of the Father that all shall be saved. You must believe that. Yeah? You must know that to be your truth. You must make that your truth. You will be saved. And here's the thing, that what we know, I honestly believe in that prayers are being answered, and that is a prayer. And your prayer is being answered. And you have not actually thought about what it is you're asking for, or how that should come about. There is reason. Yeah? And again, as I said before, belief kills consciousness. It really does. It switches off your brain. Following blindly, it switches off your brain. And reason is a big part of consciousness. Yeah? I don't think it's all, but it is definitely a big part of it. And you're switching that off. You believe. Now, this is your prayer. Yeah? All shall be saved. It is the will of the Father that all shall be saved. And that is your prayer. And that is what you believe on. And that is what you're waiting for. Meanwhile, the world is going to hell. Yeah? And you're wondering how. You know, I'm trying to do, I'm believing on that we will be saved, God will come. Why is this world going to hell? What is happening? Your prayer has been answered. Because there's one thing you had not considered. Yeah, again, I say that as well. Be careful what you're asking for. Because in order for all to be saved, all will have to be in danger. That is the only way that prayer can be fulfilled. Everybody has to be in danger first. and then they will come and save you. Problem, reaction, solution. And then there is an absolute continuation from the Old Testament to the New Testament. It is still the same intention. It has changed its form, the way it is presenting itself to you. Whereas in the Old Testament, it was pretty much out in the open. Yeah, I'm the ruler of this, and you do as you're told. Yeah, and if you do, you're going to get something for it. But if you don't, God help you, or rather, He won't. He will step on you. So it was very much in the open, whereas in the New Testament, it became hidden. Yeah, and there we actually have the wolf in sheep's clothing. Or as Jesus said, be clever as serpents. What does it say? Sorry, the word has gone out of my head. Probably something like clever, knowledgeable, something like serpents, but harmful as doves. And there you have the serpent inside of the dove, or the wolf inside of sheep's clothing. It's still the same thing, and we are still following, and that is to say we are giving of our energy to the creation of this thing. We are being the co-builders. We are the co-builders of our own destiny. And honest to God, we don't know what we're doing. So again, what we need is a new intention. Yeah? And the intention, all shall be saved, is a wolf in sheep's clothing. So an intention, it is the intention of God, something that we believe on, something that we want to be according to, something that we want make ourselves into, that we are in service of that intention. Again, that is in service of God, and that is fine. Yeah? Just serve the correct God. And I was thinking that instead of all shall be saved, if you have the intention and you're asking in the name of the intention, and I'm asking in the name of the Father, that all shall exist, experience life, thrive, become the best they can possibly be. If that were your intention, if that is the intention in the name in which you are asking that desire, and if that were given to, then again, if that became a reality, what would you need to be saved from? Again, there might be a pitfall in what I've just said. I mean, if you can see it, please let me know. I'm just putting that forward as an idea. Yeah? As I said, all shall be saved. If you think about it a bit more carefully, you can see what that desire would actually work, or would have to be in danger first. So create a new desire, create a new outcome, create a new intention in the name of which you ask. And then that it would first of all create you, and it would create all, and it would create a whole, and it would create a future. As I said, think about it. I mean, I'm watching the Inspired channel, and they're going, we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're free. I think you should put wisdom in there. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're free, we're wise. We really need some dose of wisdom here. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. The reason why we're going around the same circles is because we are being ruled over by the same intention over and over again. And although there seems to be a big change from the Old Testament to the New Testament, there wasn't. Yeah? It was a wolf in the open, out in the open, a wolf, a ruler, a dictator in the Old Testament, and then in the New it became a wolf in sheep's clothing. But the essence inside is still the same. And it will still lead you to the same outcome, which is why we're going love, compassion, all over the world, and we're running into the book of the Revelation, full on destruction. It's because the intention inside of that woolly little sheep is actually a wolf. It hasn't changed. So we need a completely new intention, and we should have one that is grown out of our own knowing. Yeah, don't subdue your nature, but let it be grown out of this world, an intention for this world that is grown out of this world, and that's not coming from some heaven somewhere else. Okay, I leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.